the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12681, offices in Baton Rouge.
Eagle 98.1 WDGL and HC1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on the air. Presented by Super Chevy and Yingling. Your local Super Chevy dealers and Yingling Flight. It's time to talk LSU football on the flagship home of the Tigers. Call 225-499-9898. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Now, live from the Raisin Cane studio, here's Charles Hanagriff and Richard Dickson.
The Tigers win a 13-10 decision over Western Kentucky to wrap up the home schedule and get to 7-4 on the season as they head to Norman, Oklahoma to wrap up the regular season. Good evening, everybody. I'm Charles Hanagriff along with former Tiger Richard Dickson. That was excruciating to watch.
Very tough.
That was one of the toughest watches of a football game that we've seen in quite some time. LSU's offense, if the goal was to go sideways, they would have led the nation in yards for the season. For LSU to put up 202 yards through the air and 126 yards on the ground, it felt like they went 1,500 yards sideways. Western Kentucky came into this game 110th out of 136 teams in the country in rush defense. That's 175 yards a game. Last week, Middle Tennessee State ran for 157 yards against them. And about 6 weeks ago, Toledo ran for 307 yards against them. Good. LSU managed 3.4 yards a carry for 126 yards on the night. Michael Van Buren, who we thought had a very good game a week ago, did not have a very good game tonight. Though he did complete 25 of 42 passes for 202 yards, which doesn't on the surface sound all that bad. Most of this stuff was sideways. Because LSU does not have a running game they can count on, they have tried to go to we haven't pulled out the term in about a month, Rich, the non-traditional run game, which is anything but turn around and, hand the ball in a power formation or to a running back at one point. Hester had a stat in the post game that at one point they went 20 plays without handing the ball to a running back. I'm going to take Jake at his word. I didn't go back and read the play-by-play. I didn't want to because it was just very, very tough to watch. LSU reverted back to a lot of the things that have plagued this offense all year, which was a reluctance to throw the ball down the field and a reluctance to throw the ball in the middle of the field, and without a rushing attack to really help them. That made this one of the most anemic offensive performances that you'll ever see. And it overshadowed what was a really good defensive performance for LSU as they were able to hold Western Kentucky, did not let them run the football at all. They gave up a field goal on the first drive, and then nothing really the rest of the game. The last touchdown in the fourth quarter was a scoop and score that made things a little bit nerve-wracking there for a moment. Western Kentucky did drop a touchdown pass that quarterback Rodney Tisdale.
In the first quarter or second quarter? I mean, early on the defense struggled. I think they settled down.
The first drive, it was a 57-yard drive, and they got the field goal. And then I think it was 2 drives later.
They got the touchdown. Dropped.
They ended up turning the ball over on downs because they dropped the touchdown on the trick play, which was set up perfectly, and he just dropped it. So they settled in and did the things that they needed to do the rest of the game. But it was, like I said, an excruciating game to watch. 14 punts between the two teams. They were absolutely awful on third down. A combined 7 of 31, and LSU throw in 1 for 3 on fourth down. LSU had 2 cracks at it from the 1-yard line and couldn't get in. Pick up wherever you want, because this whole thing was a giant bucket of yuck.
Yeah, it was absolutely awful. Told my wife I'd cook steaks at halftime. I cooked them in the first quarter. It was tough to watch.
LSU was without Mansour Delane, mostly without Whit Weeks. He did play in the game. Cool moment where the 3 Weeks brothers were on the same.
That's the only reason he was coming into the game.
I feel the same way.
100%.
He was going to try to tough it out, tough enough to get through that part, to say that they had done that. And a cool moment for the family.
Awesome. I mean, I stopped. I had my kids sitting there, my wife sitting there. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, to see 3 brothers on the field at the same time. They have that drive. That's a special moment. I'm glad it got to happen. I mean, it was meant to happen. That's what this family wanted. That's why he graduated early. That's why a brother redshirted last year. They wanted this opportunity, and that was awesome. But yeah, that's the only reason Weeks got healthy enough to get
That's
in the game.
about the highlight of the evening. LSU lost Ori Williams and Braylon Moore in this game, and the offensive line struggled mightily. They have struggled for most of the year. And Western Kentucky, with the same blueprint that most of the teams have had, with just a lot of very simple stunts that drove LSU crazy.
They got home with 3 or 4 most of the night.
It was tough to watch, and I'm hopeful. We'll find out in a couple of weeks that these non-conference games in November go by the wayside. That this is something that we talk about 20 years from now. Remember we used to play these games. How awful.
You know how
they
bad
were.
our second to last week in November was back in the day.
Right. I'm hopeful with the 9-game SEC schedule that all of the non-conference games will be pushed to the front, with the exception of the rivalry games like Florida State, and Clemson, South Carolina. They can keep those at the end. But for those that don't have one of those games like LSU, prefer to move all of these games up to the front of the schedule. So you're playing meaningful conference games in November. And I certainly never want to see one like this ever again. The problems that LSU's had offensively all year we're back in full focus again, and you're going to have some probably historic bad numbers here. Since I give Wilson Alexander credit for this one at the Advocate, as we were searching for historic numbers, and since they split D1 and D2 or 1AA back in 1978, this is going to be the first year that LSU doesn't score 25 points in a game against a D1 team. Assuming that they don't score that many against Oklahoma next week, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. It's
got to be the lowest point scored ever. I mean, I can't imagine, unless you go back to when they might have been playing 10 games. It's pretty bad, because at this point we've only scored more than 24 points one game this year.
I don't know if the grand total is going to end up there. It might, but this has just been excruciating to watch. And they made a little bit of progress last week. We thought Michael Van Buren made a little bit of progress last week. He had a shaky start and then played pretty well in the second half, and that wasn't evident tonight.
There was a lot of things with the play calling. Look, I got it in Alabama where we did some different stuff, and we rolled out, ran a bunch of screens, showed some new stuff, thought we needed to make the game a little bit easier. You go back to Arkansas, we had the double passes, the trick plays. Okay, you're trying to get something going. When we got to a straight-up game plan, the game plan tonight was terrible.
No argument. No argument. They're so bad. They're so bad that there's nothing that they can hang their hat on offensively.
There was 5 to 7 plays, I think I counted, that, look, I understand you have to roll out, but we talked about against Alabama when Nussmeier was in there and they started rolling out and getting out on the sides and passing to get away from the problems that they had in the offensive line. Well, Michael Van Buren's not the guy you need to do that with. You drop back and let him take seams and let him go. He doesn't need to roll out to get comfortable and get away from pressure. But then not only did we continue to roll out on probably 75% of our pass plays, you take a right-handed quarterback and you roll him out 7+ times to the left. They weren't making it any easier for him.
At this point, I'm ready for the season to end for this one reason. I feel like they're repping bad techniques. You know how you think the
whole season's been bad,
right? But you know how you get to the end of the season, it's like, well, you know what? They get the reps. You're improving. This is a big theme for bowl practices. Well, you want to make, even if the season stinks, you want the bowl practices because you get some of the young kids some.
It's early spring practice.
Yeah, you scrimmage a little bit with the young kids that haven't played much, the red shirts and things like that. You try to improve something. If you can just find 1 or 2 guys that make a step forward. At this point, I don't feel like they're doing anything offensively other than repping bad technique.
100%. I mean,
you're getting worse.
We had, like I said, Alabama, we showed some new things that I thought helped Garrett. Last week, we started to struggle a little bit, couldn't finish in the red zone, but there were things that I was positive about. Tonight, I watched 1 quarter and I started to cook steaks. I couldn't watch it anymore.
Well, you could have called me. I would have come over and eaten. So here's what what I want to do tonight, 499-9898 is the number to call on the Hooters hotline. You can talk about this game if you want. You can talk about the season if you want. We'll take questions, if you got something you want to say. But mostly what I think everybody wants to talk about is Lane Kiffin. And so give us your take, okay? Do you want Lane Kiffin? Do you think Lane Kiffin is coming? Do you think that he's not coming? Would you rather somebody else and, try to keep it somewhat realistic, okay? Yeah. Andy Reid's not going to quit the Chiefs and come and coach here. But if you want to opine on Lane Kiffin, what has happened to this point? If you missed pregame, 90% of pregame was about what has transpired over the last 36 hours or so. And most of the thought is that LSU is the favorite to land him, that the contract has been agreed to. The numbers are there for Ole Miss, LSU. Florida seems to be fading there, but that LSU is in the driver's seat here, that his agent, his family, everybody has kind of, signed off on this.
Does that scare you?
Well,
because let's talk about it. You've done it a lot longer than me. I've paid attention to 3 coaching searches in LSU history.
Okay.
In 2016, we all were told it was Tom Herman. They show it on the ESPN screen.
Right.
The next day, it's not. Go to, what was it, 22, 21, whatever, the one when Orgeron was fired. We were all told Lincoln Riley. It was well known. That's
right.
What everybody talked about. Mm-hmm. It didn't happen. And that's where I get really freaking nervous.
And that's more common than you think. In 1994, LSU called a press conference to announce Pat Sullivan as their head coach. I mean, they sent out, and this is before the internet, but they sent us a press release and said, be here tomorrow at this time, and we are going to announce our head coach. And 8 hours later, found out that they couldn't handle a buyout and canceled the press conference and picked up the interview process and started back again.
To your point, you said more common than you think.
Yeah.
That's usually not a good sign.
Well, I can't tell you. When I asked earlier today, I said, so what could go sideways between now and next week? And what I was told, he could change his mind.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've seen that happen. The softball coach, Pat Murphy, actually came here and had a press conference. Bobby Cremins was the basketball coach at Georgia Tech, was going to South Carolina, went and had a press conference, turned around, went home.
How far ago was the softball coach? I remember that happening.
Beth Torina's been here, 12 years now? I think.
Was it before Beth?
Somewhere. No, Beth ended up getting the job when Murphy went back to Alabama. I'd have to look up the exact year. I think it was around 2012.
That one to me blows my mind that you travel and get there to do a press conference and change your
It's
mind.
happened twice in basketball that I can remember. Dana Altman left Creighton to go to Arkansas and actually had the press conference, called the Hogs, turned around, went home. Okay, so this can happen.
You do that without paperwork signed?
Most of the time, yeah.
Okay.
I think when Les signed his last contract with LSU, it was like a year after they had, come to an agreement. So what could happen between now and when they announce a coach? Somebody could change their mind. I mean, say this all the time with coaching searches. Things that are true on Monday are not necessarily true on Wednesday. Things change. But today, when we woke up this morning, looked pretty good. Okay, I don't think that this game has any impact at all on him one way or the other. If anything, he looked at it and said, well, I've got plenty to work on, but can I tell you that he's not going to change his mind, or that he had or maybe a better way to put it is he has his mind 100% made up or 90% made up? I'll tell you this. I think that yesterday he wanted to coach in the Egg Bowl, and today I think that is a lot harder to see.
Yeah.
Because the reaction in Oxford has been, shall we say, poor to the idea that.
Heard a lot about it.
And I asked you the question yesterday, and I asked Matt Flynn today on the pregame. You were a player. You guys were in that situation in 2007 where it looked like you might not have your coach moving forward. And I asked both of you guys, what would your reaction have been if Les had said, hey, listen, I'm going to coach this game today against Tennessee, but after that I'm going to Michigan?
We're playing to spite you.
Yeah, it would be a pretty salty attitude toward the coach, and that's essentially what it looks like it's going to be. Now, could he change his mind, turn around and say, you know what, not only am I going to coach the Egg Bowl, I'm here at Ole Miss. Forget everything that's happened in the last week. That could happen.
It's got to happen
that
early
could happen
in the week, though.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think that. I,
For the team, like I understand, yeah,
that's logical.
But it's going to be a rough Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice, Thursday, if that feeling is still the same. Like I could see, in this, just in my mind, it going bad Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday you call a team meeting. That's the only way you change it. Wednesday you call the team meeting, like, hey guys, look, I'm not going anywhere. That's how you re-energize the troops to get everybody fired up.
You change the story, change the narrative.
You do it on Wednesday because Monday and Tuesday are going to be terrible. It's going to be awful.
And this is you got Thanksgiving on top of all that, so your schedule's a little bit disjointed. They want desperately to win this game because they may not make the playoffs without it. And if Kiffin is leaving after this game and they lose, then the committee's definitely going to dock. Whether that's fair or not, they're going to dock Ole Miss because the coach is not there.
I agree. And so if I'm Ole Miss, I'm thinking, and you got a pretty solid staff. You got Joe Judge, who's been in the NFL as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're trying to sell the committee at this point, it's let him go, Joe Judge, and win the game with the interim coach, and then you're at 11-1 or whatever, and roll it out.
I think if they won the game with him and then he quit, they'd be fine. At 11-1, you're getting in no matter what. But I'm wondering at this point, again, yesterday you asked me, what's Ole Miss's best chance to win the Egg Bowl? Lane Kiffin on the sideline or Lane Kiffin not on the sideline? I just said, well, Lane Kiffin on the sideline. Today I'm not as sure.
Yeah.
Because, again, of the reaction of the players.
That meeting I talked about.
Lane Kiffin has not signed anything with LSU. He's not guaranteed LSU anything. It was everybody has, kind of blessed this thing. And it's like, Lane, is that what you're going to do? And it's like, yeah, it looks like that's what he's going to do. But, again, nothing's done till it's done.
You said earlier that, I think you said it, that Ole Miss, LSU, Florida, the offer's the same.
I've been told that by enough different people,
and
that there is not a significant difference in the money. No.
And we've been told for 2 weeks that Ole Miss will not match an offer.
Yeah.
So we knew that those two were in it.
Which includes player budget.
Yeah.
Not just salary for staff.
Yeah, because you heard as soon as, what was it that broke a few days ago, that LSU was going to do $30 million in NIL, and then all of a sudden you hear people talking about, well, Ole Miss will do 40 or 35. That's all. They're going to match each other.
And all of that has to clear the CSC.
That's the other part of it that
which
I don't get.
Today, you get Texas Tech saying, you know what, we ain't signing that. And the CSC all of a sudden is in jeopardy. So that's money that that's the clearinghouse for signing off on NIL dollars. And well, now, what's the future of that? Because the money that was guaranteed for player budget, if it comes through NIL, had to be cleared, or we thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're trying to keep up with all this, come right along with us. But it's going to be an interesting week in Oxford, believe me, because that meeting yesterday between Keith Carter, the athletic director, and Lane Kiffin, which nobody was in besides them, did not produce results, I think, that made anybody completely happy. Ole Miss doesn't know for sure.
Didn't they say they brought the chancellor in as well to that meeting?
They may have.
Yeah.
They may have. I'm just.
But whatever, that meeting, I think that what Ole Miss wanted was to come out of that meeting and release a statement a few hours later in the evening, whatever, that Lane Kiffin will be our coach. And they weren't able to do that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That would have been the best thing. I was actually wondering if he'd gone in there and said, well, I'm leaving next Saturday, but I'm going to coach this game, what they would have done. At that point, I would have said, yeah, they'd have probably told him, hit the road. But none of that happened.
Yeah.
He didn't say, I'm definitely going to LSU. He didn't say, I'm definitely going to Florida. And he didn't say, I'm definitely staying here. He just said, hey, let's go play the game, and then I'll tell you next Saturday. And that satisfied nobody.
Yeah.
499-9898 is the number to call. Let us know what you think. LSU wins at 13-10. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. LSU wins at 13-10. 2011 for Patrick Murphy, who was the head softball coach at LSU for about 45 minutes or so.
I was distracted.
The 2011. I missed it by a year. All right, let's go to the Hooters hotline. Jules in New Mexico starts us off. Jules, welcome into the show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Man, initially I had a couple of questions for you guys, but holy hell, what did we just watch tonight? That was horrible. That was like watching Roadhouse with Joe Biden playing Dalton instead of Patrick Swayze. But anyways, I think Lane Kiffin's going to look good on a Raising Cane's Cup next year. Go Tigers.
Okay, so that I'll put that down as one yes vote for Lane Kiffin. I'm trying to get some feedback here. How do you feel?
If I had to guess, it's about a 75% yes, and there's 25% of the people that are still thinking that they're paying that money, that they're going to pay the leaked 7-year, $90 million job, and that we could do better with less.
Well, let's take some more calls. Joe is in Ponchatoula. Joe, welcome into the show.
What's up, fellas? How
Hey,
y'all
Joe.
doing?
Good.
Hey, I just wanted to say, it sounds like, with Kiffin, we putting all our eggs in one basket. What if he comes out and says, I'm staying at Ole Miss? And then, was it not a week, 2 weeks ago where Vegas had the betting favorites for Saban to come back? And just wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that.
Yeah, those odds come from the offshore books, and they're wildly unreliable. I wouldn't put a whole lot into that. But the first part of your question, what if he does come out this week and says, you know what, after careful consideration, I'm going to stay? Well, the next guy on the list is probably Eli Drinkwitz, who is also a Jimmy Sexton client, okay? From what, we understood, he would be the next guy in line. John Summerall would be somebody probably they would want to talk to from Tulane if Kiffin bowed out of this thing. It's the same group of names. Remember that, Sexton controls about, 2/3 to 3/4 of the prominent names.
Let's talk about the name. Dillingham.
Dillingham is not a Sexton client, I don't believe. His
Summerall
agent
is.
he
Drinkwitz is.
Yes.
So you're talking about 75%.
Of the people we're talking about,
the four names we're talking about, 3 of them are Sexton guys.
Yeah, and he's obviously got a lot of influence throughout all of these coaching searches. But here's one thing that I have kind of ascertained throughout this thing is Jimmy Sexton is seen by a lot of the fan bases as an enemy, okay, to them. Doesn't matter what the fan base says. Jimmy Sexton, bad, okay. In this case, I think Jimmy Sexton would like Lane, this is my opinion, Lane Kiffin to be at LSU. I think that works for a lot of reasons. Number one, Jimmy Sexton hasn't represented the LSU head coach since Nick Saban left. Yeah. It's a pretty nice guy to have in your portfolio because a lot of good players come through here. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that if that domino falls, then, well, is John Summerall going to go to Auburn or is he going to go to Ole Miss, if another job opens up? So if you think Jimmy Sexton is working against Kiffin to LSU, I would tell you that I think you're wrong. I think it's the opposite.
Do you think he cares if it's Florida or LSU? Because Florida hadn't had one. He hadn't been in Florida in a while either, has he?
I think a month ago he would have been fine with Kiffin going to Florida. I think he thinks this is better.
Yeah.
And so that's my read on it. 499-9898 is the number. So those are the names that you have. You want another out of left field name? I mean, we can go back. We've done this list: Kelvin Shepard, Cliff Kingsbury, Jeff Brom. Blake Baker is also represented by Jimmy Sexton now. Patrick is in Baton Rouge. Patrick, welcome into the show.
Charlie, Rich, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Patrick.
Good. Just a few things before I get to the Kiffin thing. I was in the stadium tonight, and that O-line, just no energy. I mean, absolute Swiss cheese. I mean, just pathetic, not happy. Another question, really, what's going on with Whit Weeks, like, for real, with this ankle? Because I know he wanted to come out for his brothers, but is this still from last year, you think? Is it still, kind of related to that? And then on the Kiffin thing, I guess, what is yours, or what do you think LSU's max out? Like, we're not going above this number, no matter what. This is where we're stopping. And I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm going to let you take the injury part, and then I'll deal with the contract.
I have a question a little bit about, what he talked about, is this concerning last year? I don't remember if this is the same ankle.
Well, he's talking about, I guess, the injury in the bowl game.
Yeah,
Is
where he
that what
dislocated
this
his
is?
ankle. Is this the same ankle? I'm not sure. What I've been told, it was a deep bone bruise on the ankle, and that's tough. It's something, and I can't even really speak to it about the ankle. I had one in my shin. I took a knee to the shin against the Florida game in 2008, I believe, and my leg was so swollen I couldn't walk, couldn't get up, take a pee, couldn't do anything. I had to keep it in a boot, keep it drained, and it was manageable to enough to where I had to take care of it for 6 days a week so I could play on Saturday. And there was a stretch in that season, I don't think I practiced for 6 weeks. I just played on Saturdays. And the game's over. They put me back in a boot, gave me some medicine, and I didn't step on it again. And that was a shin. It was something that was so tough to deal with. It was pain management. You take some medicine for the game, you fight through it, your adrenaline's running, and you go through and play. Being an ankle, like a shin doesn't have moving parts. My shin it's not causing me to cut, flex, bend, do whatever. So if it's anything similar to that, it hurts. It's tough. I know that he thinks he can play through it, but then the pain and it's not about doing it today. It's getting up tomorrow morning and trying to be able to move. I can't speak to it. And I can say that if it's the bone bruise that I'm familiar with, I understand where it is. It's tough and it's miserable. And being especially something that you can't immobile. Like you have to move to play. But if it's the same ankle, that raises more questions to me.
It would be best if he just sat out probably next week and took a month off of this thing. You want to play in a bowl game, that's up to you. But moving forward, okay, is the big thing for weeks.
I think he's done.
Next week's game is not.
They got him healthy enough to put all three brothers on the field,
and they got that. So a wonderful moment. I would probably shut him down for the last game and probably the bowl game too, and just have him ready for next year. I'm assuming he's going to come back. Maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to.
I'm not assuming that. I think it depends on who the coach is.
Well, it probably does. What I'm saying is before the season, I kind of thought he had a really good shot to go pro, and now I don't think this is the season that he wants to, his draft stock is not going to be up because he's missed so much time. The contract, I do not think, unless something has changed in the last 8 hours, that we are in a bidding war here between these three schools. I think the money has been agreed to. I think Ross Dellinger's estimate of $90 million is in the ballpark. I think it may be a touch low, but my information is that the contract will be between $90 and $100 million. The most common figure that we've gotten is 7 years, $14 million, which makes him higher paid than Kirby Smart. Okay, $14 million a year. It comes in over Smart's 13.2 whatever, and 7 years is less than the 10 that gave everybody heartburn the last time. That's so give or take a few million between friends. But I don't think that what you're seeing right now is a bidding war between these three schools. I think the money. This is how it was told to me. I said, "What's Ole Miss's offer on the table? Whatever LSU's is." I said, "What's LSU's offer?" He said, "Whatever Ole Miss's is." Yeah. So, and I'm sure Florida. If Florida's still in this thing, and it looks like they're at best fading and probably out altogether, their number would have been the same.
Do you think it gets into how you're paid? That's my only question, because I was told what I had heard earlier on, it was more of like an 11 to 12 guaranteed with escalators up to 15.
How it's structured, it might be a little bit different from school to school, but I was told there wasn't a problem with structure, there wasn't a problem with deferrals, there wasn't a problem with buyouts, there wasn't a problem with insurance policies, nothing. Everything was agreed to, pretty much. Daniel is in Monroe on the Hooters hotline. Daniel, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. Regarding Kiffin, I'm willing to be told I'm wrong or off base on this, but I just can't shake the time at USC, Tennessee, and with the Raiders. 3 big jobs, and each one ended poorly. I know he's had a lot of success at Ole Miss, and that's what made him the hot name of this cycle. And I I mean, a lot of success at Ole Miss. I mean, I understand why people want him, but, I mean, maybe I just can't let go of the past.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you. It's a reasonable concern. Here's my take on those jobs. The Raiders job, he was he was 31 years old. Al Davis has a history of hiring young coaches. He hired young coaches before that, and John Madden, I believe, was 32 years old when he hired him. Okay, so Al Davis had a history of hiring young coaches. John Gruden was a young coach when he hired him. I'm trying to think. Mike Shanahan. In fact, Shanahan washed out there. Okay. And Davis was closer towards the end of his career at that point. That was a bad situation that I don't necessarily blame on Kiffin. The USC thing, he inherited a probation situation, built them up, and then they were ranked number 1 in one of those preseasons, had a bad year, and he got crossways with Pat Hayden. That didn't work out well. I will always wonder what would have happened if he'd have stayed at Tennessee. Because if at that point in 2008, Tennessee had not yet fallen off the cliff. They were only a year or so removed from being in the SEC championship game. And Tennessee from, say, 1992 to 2007 was right there behind Florida as the top program in the conference. Kiffin had put together a monster recruiting class. He had a monster recruiting staff, and they had won. Frank Wilson was there. Ed Ogeron was there. His father was on staff there, was running the defense. They scared the hell out of Alabama that year, and as a big underdog. I think he would have done pretty well had he stayed there. He wanted to go back to USC where he'd had all that success with Pete Carroll and those guys. I think he would have done pretty well at Tennessee, and Tennessee would not have fallen off the way that they did. But I got no way to prove that. I think all of that is way in the past. Yeah. I would judge him more right now as a 50-year-old on what he's done at Ole Miss.
I'd judge him more on last year on a $20+ million roster. Everybody talked about losing to Kentucky. Like, if you want to judge him,
and Florida.
So you want to judge him on anything, a month ago or whenever Kelly was fired, and me and my buddies were all talking about it, and Kiffin's name comes up, and he's the hot name, biggest name. That was our concern. I'm like, yeah, he's got a good offense. Media-wise, he's great. Publicity-wise, he brings attention. But he always loses a couple games he shouldn't.
That's fair. That's fair. And the number of coaches that you can go, you say, well, go get a proven guy. If you want somebody that has won multiple conference championships, that's a pretty short list of power conferences. It's like 8 active coaches have won more than one.
You would know this way better than anybody listening, talking, and whatever. What's the biggest coaching move ever from a power school that has won championships that another program took away to continue winning championships?
A coach that won a championship at one place and went somewhere else and won there too?
And was fired, not left, like Urban Meyer left, and then Nick Saban left. Or somebody that was hired away. Nick Saban went to the NFL. Urban Meyer retired from Florida. Somebody that was hired away from a good situation.
Jimbo Fisher was one of the few national championship coaches that was hired away. Now, he wasn't obviously fired at Florida State.
And he went 500 in the year that he left. Like, he had a really bad year when the quarterback broke his ankle in the first game against Alabama and things went downhill. It wasn't really like who ended on the top and still left and went somewhere else.
Most of the time, for most of my life until the whole system changed, if you won a national championship, you didn't get fired.
Yeah.
They eventually, moved you into retirement, but you didn't get fired. Lou Holtz left Notre Dame voluntarily and took other jobs after that. I'm trying to think. Pete Carroll.
I just don't know how common it is when people are talking about, won
a national championship at 2 schools. You can count them on, one hand.
Yeah, I just think, you hear more of hiring the guy that coached at a Tulane or University of Central Florida or, Michigan State and a guy that was hot up and coming, and you bring him in.
Because that's how it happened.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. Let me think a little bit. But
I'm just curious.
Just coaches that have won 2 national championships at 2 different schools,
who left their school at the top of their game and went somewhere else.
To another school?
To another school. Not to the NFL, not retired, that had everything going at the top of their game and said, this ain't enough for me. I'm going somewhere else where it's better.
Jimbo.
But he fell off at the end.
He did. But it was, 3 years after they won the national title that he went there?
So I'm trying to talk about like Lane. They're 11-1. Somebody that's on this peaking, and then says, I can do better somewhere else. I've never seen it before.
No, it's probably unprecedented.
No.
Well, Kelly.
Yeah, right.
Kelly, they were on the verge of the playoff, and then he came here. This is LSU's problem, right? 499-9898 is the number. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Invited you to join us for Friday's AFR from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Got Lit Light Installers, because everything looks better when it's lit. We'll see you Friday, 3 to 6 from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Got Lit Light Installers.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Trust isn't given, it's earned. On the field, I trust my team. For my healthcare, I trust the lake.
Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Lockmair to Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmair to Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Eagle 98.1.
Thought of a couple more. Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma winning, not a national championship, to go to USC. Brett Bielema had won 3 straight Big Ten titles and then left to go to Arkansas, which, as it turned out, was not a great move for him, and is now back in the Big Ten. 499-9898 is the number to call on the Hooters hotline. Wayne is in Eunice. Wayne, welcome into the show.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good, Wayne.
Appreciate y'all. It was an ugly win, and I'm afraid it's going to be an embarrassing loss. I hope not, but next week. But with the Lane thing, I agree with the last caller. I like Lane. I hope he does come. I think he has a lot to work with in Louisiana. And I would love for him to be our next coach.
Okay.
But what do y'all think? What do y'all think about a baseline on like the NIL thing? Like everybody gets paid the same, where maybe some players might not think about transferring so much.
I think that there's no rules. The CSC, thing is already on life support.
Yeah.
I think the challenges in court to limit some of this stuff have basically fallen apart. I mean, the NCAA has begged for a congressional intervention, and this was the direction they were going in with that. And if that thing fails, I don't know. You've got revenue share baselines, but NIL, I mean, you still got a hard time. Now, I have talked to people who have contributed NIL dollars that say they are making you document a lot more of this stuff now, that you have to prove that they're doing something, that you can't just, go to breakfast with somebody and, hand them a check, that they're requiring some documentation, but that's about it.
But you do a commercial. I mean, you talk about it every year and this is just a broad example, like the Super Bowl. That's 30 seconds was a $2 million commercial. Okay, so I want Whit Weeks to come advertise me at Industrial Pipe Specialist selling pipe, and I got all types of money. I'm going to give him $2 million. I think it's worth it. How do you, without a union, or I don't know how.
Well, that's what the CSC was supposed to, they're saying, hey, listen, you can pay him, but you can't pay him that. That's not market value. And we knew they were going to get sued. Well, they never even got that far.
Yeah.
Because now the schools, if Texas Tech doesn't sign off on this thing, and why does Texas Tech matter? Well, because
so much money.
Because Cody Campbell has been right in the middle of all this legislation. I mean, talking to the president about this. If they don't sign off on it, well, forget it. It's a tough landscape to navigate, because there's not a lot of rules. The revenue share rules are in there. Walt is in Alaska. Walt, welcome into the show.
Hey, friends, I appreciate y'all letting me talk here just half a minute. My thing about Lane Kiffin is I don't want somebody that doesn't really want to be here. It's kind of like being enamored with a good-looking woman with a nice personality, but if she's not really into you, you better not say I do to her. And I think Lane Kiffin's got eyes for Texas or Alabama, and as soon as that comes open, he's jumping ship. There's rumors that the Bears team, he's been flirting with maybe Penn State. If he leaves Alabama, this whole coaching thing is going to get turned on its ear. And as far as I'm concerned, what LSU needs, they don't need Drinkwitz. Okay, I'd be happy with Blake Baker or John Summerall. They need somebody that puts some spine in on that offensive line and get those people getting mean and being able to push people around and not being pushed around themselves, because that's been an embarrassment. Even when we had those guys drafted last year in the NFL, we couldn't run the ball. And the idea of when you're on the half-yard line and you got second and goal at the half-yard line and you put your quarterback back at the 6-yard line to get a snap, that just drives me crazy.
Me too. Well, thank you for the call. I can't promise you that Kiffin takes a job here that it's going to be the last job he has. I think it's probably more likely that the next job would be an NFL job, but I can't promise you if one day Steve Sarkisian, who made a big spectacle out of saying he wasn't going anywhere, I can't tell you that wouldn't be the deal. I do think Kiffin wants to be here, though. That's kind of what I've pulled from this, is that this is a job that is attractive to him. I don't necessarily think he would be looking for another college job. That's just my feeling right now. I think his agent, I think his family, I think they all have said, hey, this is the job. Okay, this is the one you want. All right, go get it.
My understanding is the guys that he looks up to and the guys that he's been around and the guys he's reached out to have all told him that LSU is the best job for him to take.
But I understand Walt's concern.
Texas comes out and says, okay, he has success here. We all know that they got money. We'll give him $17 million. At this point, it's just a race to the top.
Well, but yes, but the part I was referring to was I want somebody that really wants to be here. And even you, I think you said we walked in on Friday and you're like, you know what, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
Okay, I am tired begging you, okay, to do this. And it's just, is it more money, more money, more money, more money? Or is this just a product of the calendar? If Ole Miss had lost 2 other games this year, Kiffin might be here right now.
Yeah.
If, the calendar was the old calendar, he might be able to coach out the season. Well, I think what he'd really like to do, which is just not possible, is coach out until Ole Miss is done.
What did Nick Saban say this morning? The NFL, you cannot talk to them until the season's over.
Until the season's over.
And then there's a designated time in the playoffs when you can talk to them.
Which you can't do here because there's the NCAA can't mandate that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think if you sat Lane Kiffin down right now, this is my opinion, and said, what do you really want? He would tell you, I want to coach this team that I'm coaching right now until we either win the national championship or we lose
100%
out, and then I want to go to LSU the next day.
100%.
I think that is what he would want to do, and that's just not possible.
No, and that's to me where I have a little bit of sympathy because, and it's not like we're not talking about money. I don't think, like you said, the money's not the reason why everybody's offering the same stuff. But even if I was coaching somewhere or whatever, and I'm an LSU guy, I love LSU, but the sickness I get in my chest and my stomach trying to talk to the kids that I've brought here, and we have this opportunity, and then tell them I'm out. Like, I don't know if I could do that. I really don't think I could.
It's a really tough thing, but I understand what he's saying. You just paid a guy $100 million to come here, who would not have come here unless you had offered him more money than he could turn down.
Yeah,
and the lack of commitment to it makes people aggravated. It's like, wait a minute, we had to beg you, we paid you all this money, and we didn't get your best effort.
No.
And I think that's what people think about Brian Kelly. We didn't get your best.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. And to me, like, that is the one that just burns you because, you went out and got what you thought was the best available who didn't give you their best. I don't see that in the I could be wrong. I didn't see it really with Brian Kelly. I wasn't looking into it, didn't think about it. But with Lane, I think that guy wants to win.
I do too.
I think he wants to be somewhere that's got a lot of talent. I think he wants somewhere with a rabid fan base. I think he wants the pressure. But turning your back on the guys you've worked all year long with is tough.
It's very tough. I can't imagine having that meeting.
Yeah.
I really can't. Jules is in Abbeville on the Hooters Hotline. Jules, welcome into the show.
Good evening, fellas. The thing that gets me about that the NIL and the portal, all that, is now that basketball started and you see these guys and they're at their 4th school in 4 years, all at the D1 level. That to me needs to be curtailed in some kind of manner. As far as Kiffin goes, and everybody wanted Jimbo last time around, and we see what happened at A&M. I'm leery of Kiffin. I think he might be leaving. I don't think he can win a national championship at Ole Miss. I really don't. And I think maybe he realizes that as well. But what I'm leery about with him is he's great offensively, but I'm concerned about the defense ever being up to snuff to, carry him all the way. So Trey his hands look kind of shaky to me. Few drop balls, but poor effort. It's just like you said, excruciating is the perfect word. So Basketball hasn't beaten anybody, and football hasn't beaten anybody so far. So, anyway, other than that, y'all have a great one.
Thank you, Jules.
I don't think it's.
You want to talk about Trey Davis for a minute?
Yeah, he's dropped some balls in the last couple of games. And look, it happens. He's made a lot of plays as well. It's just something that I think when things are going wrong, when you change quarterbacks, the ball spins a different way. How many balls has he caught from Michael Van Buren this year? I don't remember him dropping a bunch of Nussmeier's balls, but I know when you change quarterbacks, you can talk to a bunch of people. When we go through the route tree and they're rolling quarterbacks in, it's a lot easier to catch the ones you catch every day.
I'm gonna disagree. I agree with you on the transfer portal part.
I didn't like the effort part. I think they were put in bad situations. I thought coaching was terrible tonight. I thought the game plan was terrible tonight. I don't think that guys weren't giving effort.
Yeah, I think the transfer portal, I agree with that. I don't like the idea behind kids at 3 or 4 different schools. I don't think that was ever the intent.
I think you fixed the NIL stuff by fixing the transfer portal stuff. I mean, when I played, if I wanted to go out of conference, I believe I had to sit out 1 year. If I wanted to go in conference, it was 2 years.
Yeah.
And that would fix a lot of things. Is allowing these guys to leave at any moment is not good.
No, imagine that we had the rule right all along before we changed. There should be some kind of disincentive to doing that.
No.
To allow, to teach you a little bit of working through adversity.
I was taught through the recruiting process by a lot of guys that coaches, everybody told me, fall in love with the school, fall in love with the area, don't fall in love with the coach because they'll be gone next year.
Yeah, and that was the case. Now, let me, as far as you can't win a national championship at Ole Miss, I disagree.
Yeah, they were beating Georgia by 17 and had a bad quarter.
They lost. That's the only game they've lost this year. It was in Athens. They lost by 8 points. Oklahoma looks like they're going to be a playoff team. They went to Norman and won by 8 points. I'm not telling you they're the best team, but can they win a national championship? Absolutely. You can now put enough talent on the field at Ole Miss, at Indiana, at Vanderbilt, BYU, to win the whole thing. Now you got to catch a break.
Yeah.
You got to stay healthy.
Good teams got to catch a break.
Yeah, you got to. You can't run into a buzzsaw. Another team that there's one matchup disadvantage that really kills you. If you've got a weakness somewhere that's against a strength. I mean, it's got to fall right for you. But are they good enough to beat anybody in the country? Yes, sir.
I think so.
Now, 10 years ago, pre-portal, pre-NIL, could you win a national championship at Ole Miss? No. And a 14 playoff? No. I didn't think you could. Now I think you can. 499-9898 is the number to call on the Hooters hotline. We'll take a break. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Trust isn't given, it's earned. On the field, I trust my team. For my health care, I trust the lake.
Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
My father, J.B. Falgout, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
Lockmair, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmair, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. 499-9898 is the number to call on the Hooters hotline. T is in Maurice. T, welcome into the show.
Hey, good evening, guys. I just have two quick questions. Thanks for taking my call first. If Lane Kiffin is the next coach, how many recruits we have committed you think stay? And if it's not Kiffin, how many leave? That's my question. And I'll hang up and listen, guys.
Boy, that is a great question that I can't answer.
My gut feeling is you have more stay if it's Kiffin. If it's not another name that these kids are recognized with, you have more that leave.
They've only lost one commitment from the high school class to this point. Frank Wilson is still here. The
guys that are doing 90% of the recruiting are still here.
They've got to make a decision 4 days after the end of the season. Signing date is the following Wednesday. I can't tell you what somebody other than Lane Kiffin would come in here and what that would do to the class. I don't know how all of those kids feel about that. I can tell you that there are, a number of deals that are on the table for them that are pretty doggone good no matter who the coach is. Yeah. So I think you're going to have a lot of that, holdover. But I can't tell you for sure this guy's definitely coming, this guy's definitely coming. And if it is Kiffin, are there players that are going to come off of the Ole Miss commitment list? And then the transfer portal is the big one, because the longer you wait to hire the coach, the more time your guys have got to get it in their head they're going to put themselves in the transfer portal in January. You spend a lot of December re-recruiting your own roster. And there's a lot of kids on this roster that you'd really like to have back next year. So it's a great question. I can't really give you a definite answer on that. I'm sure that's the question that Verge Osbury's got too.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Clark is in Baton Rouge. Clark, welcome into the show.
Yeah, Charlie. And again, you've been doing this a lot longer than you, but
or a lot longer than I have, but I just want to know, how good does it feel to, hear people nationally say that the LSU job is the best job of, even when Florida's open, that people say that LSU is a better job than Florida, and just wax poetic about how good it sounds to hear people talk about the LSU job.
I never thought it would happen in my lifetime. I never thought that this job would be the top job in the country. I never thought that this job would be a top 5 job in the country when I started doing this in the early 90s. The first coaching search that I was in the media covering was when Jerry DiNardo was hired. And I've already told you about, how that fiasco went down. The second one, which was when Nick Saban was the coach, there was a rumor. John Gruden was with the Raiders at the time, and John Gruden's name came up. They were like, well, he was in a twist with Al Davis, and he said, John Gruden might end up going to LSU, was the rumor. And this was before LSU was spending any money. And I got an agent on the phone, and I said, why in the I said, what is the chance of this Gruden LSU thing? He said, none. I said, well, what's the rumor? I think is his agent threw it out there. I said, why LSU? He goes, because it's the job that's open.
Yeah.
It could have been Georgia. It could have been Florida. It could have been Oklahoma State. It just happened to be the job that was open. No, he's using that for leverage. He'd never go to LSU. I said, oh, never? He goes, no. He said, most of the top coaches aren't going to LSU because they can't count. That was his exact words to me. They can't count. This was pre-Mark Emmert. I said, it can't count. He goes, yes, they're cheap. He goes, that's what I'm telling you. And that was the mantra for a long time was LSU's not going to pay anybody. And then when they paid Saban, well, that narrative started to change. And now that they upgraded the facilities, and the rest of the story. But in the 90s, that was what the agent told me. They can't count.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're not serious about wanting to have a top flight program. They'll tell you they are, but they're not going to build the facilities. They're not going to pay the coaches. They're not going to take all of the, the things that you need. I mean, the first thing Saban, when he got here, was like, where do the players go? Well, they go and they dress in here. Well, where do they practice? Well, they practice across the street. Really? How do they get there? On the bus. Oh, And where do they work out? Well, they work out over here. Where do they hang out? What do you mean where do they hang out? Where do the players hang out together? Well, I don't know. Why is that important? Because it's team building. You guys have to build a facility so that they can work out and get dressed and go to practice and do all of these things.
Because before that,
and build a team.
They worked out with the same kids that were going to LSU taking a PE class
in the north end of the state.
So when I got recruited, during my recruitment, it was before they built the football ops.
Yeah,
that was back when I went and met Les Miles. When I was offered in the old building right there by the stadium, and I remember talking to the older players, and I didn't know any better because when I was on my recruiting trail, some of the other programs had already built these facilities that LSU hadn't, and I remember sitting there and they're like, "No, we worked out with the gym class. We were in the same gym as the students taking a PE class."
And what I remember very well was that they had just built the Lawton room, which was a big deal. Before that, they didn't have a room big enough to, put the whole team in. And they built the Lawton room. They spent a bunch of money in the Lawton room, and then they spent a bunch of money redoing the weight room on the north end of the stadium. And Saban got here and said, "You're kidding, right? This is not going to. This simply will not do."
They used to get dressed at the stadium and get on a bus to go to practice.
That was every day, man. And
I can't imagine.
We're not talking about Hotard buses here either. We're talking about school buses, okay? This was in the 1990s.
I remember stories of the older guys I played with getting into a fight and walking across Nicholson to leave practice. They weren't getting on the bus. They screwed these guys. I'm out.
Right.
And they walked all the way back.
Yeah. So later on, they got scooters, but no, they were on the bus. That was what the job was at the time. And I remember thinking, he wants them to build a facility. They had to put Joe Dean in a hammerlock to get him to build a Lawton room. Okay, are you kidding? There's no way there. And then, of course, the facility improvements are. So to answer your question, thanks for this trip down nostalgia lane. I never thought that the LSU job would be the top job in the country or a top 3 job in the country, because when I started with this, I went when LSU went to play Tennessee. Gosh, what year was that? It was 2001, I believe. And I arranged for an interview with Phil Fulmer in his office. And I had interviewed Saban in his office, DiNardo in his office, and all that stuff. And when I got this was on the Friday before the game, which you probably couldn't do now, but Fulmer agreed to see me for 15 minutes, and I went to record the interview. And I remember walking into the Tennessee facility going, damn, this is nice. And they were 2 years, 3 years removed from a national championship. Peyton Manning, T. Martin, the whole deal, all these guys in the NFL. And I looked around, I'm like, this is what LSU's program wants to be when it grows up. This type of facility, this type of success, these type of guys coming through here. And LSU lost that game, but of course they came back and beat Tennessee later that year and won the conference championship, and they were on their way. But I remember walking in there going, yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. They don't get on the bus to go to practice.
It's funny you say that, because my first ever meeting with Les Miles was in Skip Bertman's office.
At the baseball field?
At the baseball field. That's where we went.
Which was also a closet.
They brought me there. That's where we went to go sit down and talk. It was me, Skip, and Les.
I mean, in Skip's office, the assistant coaches were basically dressing in a broom closet. They didn't have offices the way they do now, and Skip's office was nothing.
Before I got there, we were getting dressed underneath the bleachers, so I didn't know any better.
Five national championships, and Skip's office was about 8 by 16 or something like that, and there was no visitors locker room. We could do these facility things all night. 499-9898 is the number to call. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Renovation, new build, we solve it all. See the work at WesleyUSA.com or follow us on LinkedIn.
Eagle 98.1 WDGL and AC1 Baton Rouge.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Trust isn't given, it's earned. On the field, I trust my team. For my healthcare, I trust the lake.
Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
My father, J.B. Falgout, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
Lockmair to Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmair to Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Stat Check. Presented by Luba Workers Comp. Luba Workers Comp. Delivering genuine dependability.
Yardstick's not any better than the game was. 20 first downs for LSU. Did it feel like they got 20 first downs tonight? I mean, I didn't feel like there were 20 really positive plays on the offensive side. 14 for Western Kentucky. Total yards, 328 for LSU, 152 for Western Kentucky. Rushing yards, 126 for the Tigers, 3.4 yards per carry. 22 carries for 24 rushing attempts for 22 yards for Western Kentucky, so less than a yard a carry. The defense played well.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Third down efficiency, 3 of 16 for LSU and 4 of 15 for Western Kentucky. They just couldn't sustain very many drives. The two teams combined to go 1 for 6 on fourth down. Passing yards, 202 for the Tigers, 130 for the Hilltoppers. 2 turnovers for each team. 9 penalties for 69 yards for LSU, 4 for 26 for Western Kentucky. Shoot your theory all the hell. They got 4 penalties against them. 35-54 in time possession at 24:06 for Western Kentucky. Individually, Michael Van Buren, 25 of 42, 202 yards, a touchdown and interception, 4.8 yards per attempt. They spent the night going sideways. Rodney Tisdale, 20 of 39, 128 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 picks for Western Kentucky. Harlem Berry did some nice runs, a few nice runs for Harlem Berry. 18 carries for 80 yards. Jawan Johnson, 4 for 20. Caden Durham, 6 for 16. Marvis Parrish, 7 carries for 32 yards for Western Kentucky. Xavion Thomas and Tradez Green each had 6 catches for LSU for 47 and 45 yards, respectively, and Tradez Green had the 1 touchdown. K.D. Hutchinson, 8 catches for 40 yards for Western Kentucky. Devon Keys led LSU tonight with 10 tackles. A.J. Halsey had 9. And West Weeks on senior night for him had 7, including a sack and a pass defense. Jalen Wester, number 21, had 17 tackles for Western Kentucky tonight, and Jalen Lewis had 15, including 10 solos and a tackle for a loss. Punting tonight, Grant Chadwick, 7 punts for 44.7-yard average, and 5 of the 7 went inside the 20. He had a big night. Cole Maynard, 7 punts for a 50.1-yard average, but none of them inside the 20. LSU had the better of the field position game tonight. We are brought to you by Supreme Rice at SupremeRice.com. With the holidays coming up, if you're cooking rice, make it Supreme Rice. Support our Louisiana farmers and get more for your food dollar with Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, grown, milled, and processed down in southwest Louisiana. So whether it's the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, the jasmine, or the parboiled rice, restaurant quality, the low glycemic rice for diabetics, make it Supreme Rice. Also part of the Climate Smart program, reducing methane emissions, and promoting water conservation for future generations of Louisiana farmers. For more information and great recipes, go to supremerice.com. We'll take a break, come back with more Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Trust isn't given, it's earned. On the field, I trust my team. For my healthcare, I trust the lake.
Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Lockmayer Deshaun Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmayer Deshaun Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln on airline under the giant American flag.
Still in progress, but winding down the final seconds. Washington going to beat UCLA 48-14 is the score right now. They're under a minute to go. At the Rose Bowl, could be the last game that UCLA plays at the Rose Bowl. They're headed to SoFi, it looks like. Number 1 Ohio State beat Rutgers 42-9. They go into the Michigan game 11-0. Number 3 Texas A&M 48-0 over Samford. Marcel Reed threw 3 touchdown passes before taking an early exit from that game. Number 4, Georgia, no problem with Charlotte, 35-3. They took it easy on them in the second half. It was 28-3 at the half. They go into that game against Georgia Tech that will be in Atlanta next Friday in what was setting up as a Super Friday of action in the Southeastern Conference. Number 7, Oregon beat number 15 USC 42-27 was the final there. The Ducks move to 10-1 and solidify their spot in the college football playoff for right now. Number 8, Oklahoma beat number 22 Missouri 17-6. John Mateer, boy, he took some shots today, man. He was getting hit. Ran for 60 yards and threw the 87-yard touchdown pass that provided Oklahoma with a little bit of breathing room. Number 9, Notre Dame beat Syracuse 70-7. First time the Irish have scored that many points since 1932. Jeremiah Love, 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. How many carries do you think it took him to get 171 yards?
11.
8.
I was close.
You know, earlier in the year, Syracuse up at the Carrier Dome, they beat, I think it was UConn. And Fran Brown had them running sprints after that.
Yeah.
What's he going to do after this? To run a marathon with an elephant on their back?
They run it a long way.
Speaking of elephants, number 10 Alabama beat Eastern Illinois 56-0. Ty Simpson threw 2 interceptions in this game. Matched his total for the entire season in the 56-0 win.
56-0.
Number 11 BYU goes to 10-1. They beat Cincinnati 26-14. Number 12 Utah. This was an electrifying game. Back and forth the whole way. They beat Kansas State 51-47. Utah stays alive in the Big 12 race. Number 13, Miami beat Virginia Tech 34-17. Canes, highest ranked team in the ACC, do not have the inside track to the ACC championship game. Carson Beck threw 4 touchdown passes. Number 14, Vanderbilt beat Kentucky 45-17. Diego Pavia threw for 5 touchdowns and ran for another one. 532 yards of total offense altogether. Vanderbilt completes their first undefeated season at home since 1982. 9 wins in the season in the Southeastern Conference for the first time ever in the regular season.
That's Pavia's best game ever. Watching the highlights from that, his deep ball was on fire. He played his butt off tonight.
I thought Kentucky had a chance to hang in that game. Vandy blew him out. Pitt beat number 16 Georgia Tech 42-28, further complicating the ACC race. Haynes King threw a couple of touchdown passes, but also threw a 99-yard pick six right when Georgia Tech was about to climb back into the game. Pitt came out to a 21-0 lead in the first quarter. Later bumped that up to 28-0. Number 17, Texas beat Arkansas 52-37. Arch Manning makes history today. Not the 4 touchdown passes, but he threw a touchdown pass, he ran a touchdown in, and he caught a touchdown pass.
And a hell of a catch, by the way. It was a high throw, went high, pointed the ball, got his feet in. Looked pretty good.
Think he missed his Collins?
Could have been a touchdown.
Number 18, Michigan beat Maryland 45-20. Bryce Underwood, a couple of touchdown passes for Michigan. They go into into Ohio State next week at 9-2. They win. They get in the playoffs. Number 20, Tennessee beat Florida 31-11. The Vols' first win in Gainesville since 2003. Wisconsin beat number 21 Illinois 27-10. TCU beat number 23 Houston 17-14. Number 24 Tulane went to Philadelphia, beat Temple 37-13. Tulane wins next week. They'll host the American Championship game. They win that. They're headed to the playoff. Number 25 Arizona State beat Colorado 42-17. It was Northwestern over Minnesota 38-35. Took the Cats 4 shots, but they are now bowl eligible. SMU beat Louisville 38-6. Louisville without starting quarterback Miller Moss today. Kevin Jennings threw for 303 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wake Forest beat Delaware 52-14. It was Iowa State over Kansas 38-14. Tulsa edged Army 26-25. James Madison goes to 10-1. They beat Washington State 24-20. Arizona beat Baylor 41-17. Old Dominion over Georgia Southern 45-10. Auburn beats Mercer 62-17. Kennesaw State over Missouri State 41-34. Nevada over Wyoming 13-7. Toledo beat Ball State 38-9. App State over Marshall 26-24. UConn over Florida Atlantic 48-45. La Tech beat Liberty in overtime 34-28. while Tech gets bowl eligible. Middle Tennessee beat Sam Houston 31-17. It was New Mexico State over UTEP 34-31. South Florida beat UAB 48-18. It was Iowa over Michigan State 20-17. Duke beat North Carolina 32-25. No bowl game for Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels. Florida International beat Jacksonville State 27-21. It was South Alabama over Southern Miss 42-35. UTSA beat East Carolina 58-24. Well, I thought Oklahoma State was going to get a win today. They were up 14-0 at the half at UCF. Lost 17-14, 1-10 on the season. Troy beat Georgia State 31-19. It was South Carolina over Coastal Carolina 51-7. Lenora Sellers threw 2 touchdown passes and ran for 2 touchdowns.
His brother ran one too.
Is that right?
Yeah. Freshman brother got in there.
Jaden, I think is his name. Clemson beat Furman 45-10. Finished at LSU Clemson game. You think they were going to finish 6-5 or be 6-5?
I don't think anybody knew what the hell was going on at that point.
No, we missed that one. Texas State beat UL Monroe 31-14. Penn State over Nebraska 37-10 in that game. Katron Allen ran for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns and became Penn State's all-time leading rusher. Some pretty significant names on that list of Penn State running backs. New Mexico beat Air Force 20-3. It was Boise State over Colorado State 49-21. Stanford beat Cal in the big game 31-10. North Texas over Rice 56-24. Utah State over Fresno State 28-17. And San Diego State beat San Jose State 25-3. And that is your college football scoreboard. Do a little recap of where we're at and where we're going here this week when we come back. Kind of a little special segment before we get to game balls. We'll do that next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Trust isn't given, it's earned. On the field, I trust my team. For my healthcare, I trust the lake.
Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Lockmayer Deshawn Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmayer Deshawn Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues here from the downtown studios of the flagship. So this is where we are at this point. Lane Kiffin, the ball's in Lane Kiffin's court, has been for, a while now. What he obviously, conveyed to Ole Miss on yesterday, was that he wanted to coach in the Egg Bowl. And they came out of that saying he would coach the Egg Bowl. Is that going to change between now and, like you said, Wednesday? I don't think if you're going to change, you got to do it at some point early in the week.
Better of the team, you need another day or two of practice.
Is there going to be some kind of pushback to him coaching in this game that causes him to remove himself? Or
what do they say? The players get back Sunday.
Yeah,
we'll probably have a meeting Sunday night. See how that goes. You have a meeting Monday.
What are you going to tell him?
Shoot, that's
right.
Let's see what happens. That's what my timeline is. The team gets back tomorrow. They're going to have a meeting Sunday night, and they're going to have meetings Monday. How do those two meetings go?
What if he goes in there and says, "Okay, we're focused. This is the game we've been waiting for. This is our biggest rival. This game will put us into the playoffs. We've got a outside chance at getting in the SEC championship game. This is what you came here for. We're ready to go. Okay? 1, 2, 3, Rebels." What if he does that and doesn't address this at all? Can he do that? No. So what does he say? Hey, I went and met with the athletic director, and we'll tell you guys something Saturday after the game. Does that work?
No, I think it's
no.
What did we talk about Friday? It's got to be a heartfelt conversation saying that, look, guys, I can't tell you what's going to happen. I haven't made my mind up yet. And you have a true guy. Like I said, we recruited you here. Did you commit to me on day one? When I offered you, you said, yes, that's where I want to go. Or did you have to think about it with your family? There's things we got to think about. But there's one thing I know we got to do is we got to beat the hell out of Mississippi State.
Can he sell that though? Because they didn't just offer
I'm not
him.
saying he can't. That's the only way he can.
Right. Yeah. Because they come back and say, well, you've known about this for a while. You've had this thing on your desk from Ole Miss for a while, and you haven't signed it.
I offered you as a junior. You didn't sign until a senior.
You're doing a good job here with this, by the way.
That's the only way I know how to do it.
Right. I guess that's the only thing you can do.
That's the only way you can relate to them. I mean, you have to relate it to a situation they've been in. I recruited you for so long. I waited on you till signing day.
Let's not be naive that when he walks into that team room tomorrow, that's going to be the first time he's talked to any of these kids since all this happened on Friday. He's on the phone. He's on the phone with his captains, right?
Yeah, he's got a group of guys that he wants to relay the message to the team. He's got guys like I remember, and not head coaches, but position coaches leaving and getting the text message and talking about it and understanding. And you were their confidential person to go. Keep the morale high, talk to the guys. But they talk to a certain group of guys. We had our unity council at LSU that was, you had a leader from every position group. And those are the guys that got all the information that was fed down to the team. And he's having conversations with somebody, And my guess is the conversations are somewhat along the lines of what I'm talking about. He's like, you got to understand. You have a true friend. You talk to these guys like a friend. Like, hey, I understand. This is what I haven't made up my mind. I don't think he can sell it to him saying, hey, guys, I'm going to LSU, but let's go win. You can't. That doesn't work. There's no way in hell that works.
If Les had called the Unity Council, you, Flynn, Dorsey, Stelz, Hester, if calls all of you guys on Tuesday and says, look, after the SEC championship game on Saturday, I'm going to Michigan.
Go ahead and go. We got plenty in Croton.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell
those
that
captains
works.
are going to tell him, we'll go with Judge and Golding.
Hey, you put this whole thing together, we can run it for the next week.
From LSU's standpoint, from what the reports are, they're going to start pushing him tomorrow for a little bit of clarity in this thing. Now, according to everything we've been told to this point, everything's a go. Just got to get to next Saturday. It's a long time until next Saturday.
The rumor out there that I've heard is that was agreed upon, that he told LSU, he told Ole Miss, that he wanted to coach the Egg Bowl. That was his biggest thing. He wanted to be in there. That was what he wanted to happen. And from whatever you believe in, like everybody, you hear a million different things, that LSU was okay with that, but we need something done by Sunday.
Yeah, not tomorrow, like next Sunday, right? Well,
I was told, yeah.
Okay. He's got –
this is where it gets – like I told you my biggest fear is I've been told these things like that before.
Okay, if he didn't want to coach the Egg Bowl, which came up earlier today,
I think it'd be done. He'd be here.
Well, yeah, he could have told them yesterday.
Yeah.
So did it change between yesterday and today? Would it change between yesterday and tomorrow? The more he hears from the team, staff,
I think
whoever.
my biggest fear, I'll tell you 100% my biggest fear, when this news, like I talked to you yesterday afternoon, the amount as loud as it got yesterday afternoon from the people that weren't even speaking, the people that knew stuff early on that weren't talking, and it got really loud. That means that, yes, something probably happened, but nothing was guaranteed. And when I talked to Matt and I talked to some other guys, and I'm like, dude, you know what's the hardest part? Everybody understands that I don't know how to, unless you've been a part of a team, you've done this, turning your back on somebody while all your goals are still in front of you is freaking impossible. I don't know how you do that. Like, I could hate where I'm at, but and love, like, I love Mississippi. I married a Louisiana girl. I want to go home all the time, but I can't leave her. She wants to be here. This is her family. Like, so I don't know how you do that. And I know you got to say, well, it's business, whatever. It's outside of business when you bust your ass. Like, people really don't understand the amount of grown men that cry during the summer from getting their ass whooped in a workout, from getting yelled at and humiliated and just beat down, and then build yourself back up to these guys. And then you win a game, and then you get a close one. You lose a game, and then you build each other around that. And the camaraderie that you have and the trust you have, I can show you right now. I got 2 different group messages on my phone. One of all the guys that I play with in my grade and down, and then I got one of all the 18s. And the amount of love that these guys have for each other and texting each other. There was a meeting with Coach Nader this morning. A lot of us couldn't make it. Russell Shepard put together. Lamine Barrow was there. Brandon Taylor was there. They put a big deal, and they messaged everybody, and they're talking about how much we love you, how much we respect you. We do anything in the world for you. And there's a brotherhood that's built in this that the coaches become part of a little bit. I mean, I feel like it was always position coaches. I feel like what I see with Lane and the way he reacts around those guys, I don't know how in the world he does it to them. I can't come up with a way in my gut when I can't tell you that, man, I can't turn down that money for my family. If all the money's the same, like, you have to look those guys in the eye and be like, I'm out. Y'all go do it. Like, I get nervous thinking about trying to have that conversation.
Verge Osberg knows everything you just said.
Yeah.
Because he was a part of a team, okay?
And I think that's why the leniency's out there.
Yeah, he understands all of that. When we talked about, hey, Verge is going to be picking a coach at the head of this, the committee, but, Verge, the athletic director now, he understands all that.
And I think
he was
that's
a player.
why,
He's an LSU guy. He's a football
right.
guy. He understands all of that.
And I think that's why it's been allowed to, Lane, go coach him. We get it. You got to do that. But from flipping the side to where he's got to be responsible for hiring the guy, and if he's got everything all in on a word and then emotions change, I don't want to be Verge right now either. I mean, god dang.
It's going to be a tough week. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I could go either way at this point. Yesterday, I was pretty sure he was going to coach the game. Today, I'm less sure. And next Saturday, well,
I'm going to try to go. I got to work a little bit Monday. I'm going to try to be in the woods with no cell phone service until something happens.
Yeah, you ain't leaving me. You'll be back on Friday. All right, game balls are next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Trust isn't given, it's earned. On the field, I trust my team. For my healthcare, I trust the lake.
Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Lockmair to Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmair to Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
.1 Eagle 98.1 Game Day presented by Super Chevy and Yingling. Game balls.
All right, you first.
I'm going to the Hattiesburg, Mississippi guy, P.J. Woodland.
P.J. Woodland tonight. 2 tackles, pass defensed.
I just felt like he was in there. Should have had another interception. Was really close. Made a hell of a diving play. But he covered his butt off with Delane being out.
I'll see your P.J. Woodland and raise your DJ Pickett. 6 tackles tonight, including a sack and an interception.
I'll take 2 corners.
Yeah, we'll take both of those guys. Anybody on offense? Tougher.
Yeah.
Let's both take Harlem Berry and call it a night. We'll split our vote down the middle. 18 carries for 80 yards tonight for Harlem Berry, and he also caught 2 passes for 2 yards.
He's the only guy I remember.
They throw it sideways.
I'm gonna go watch this.
There's a movie made about this year's offense. It would be called Sideways.
I can see it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll come back and wrap things up.
What I did see that happened again defensively that aggravated me tonight. We talked about, I think it was the Ole Miss game where they schemed them up and they get a 3-by on one side and we only got 2 guys covering them.
Yeah.
It happened again tonight.
I'm going to choose not to be aggravated with the defense today. I'm gonna save all my aggravation for the other side of the ball.
Okay.
It's okay.
I agree.
We're doing film study Monday. It's okay. We'll do that. Come back, wrap it up. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1. WDGL and AC1 Baton Rouge.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Trust isn't given, it's earned. On the field, I trust my team. For my healthcare, I trust the lake.
Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Lockmair to Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmair to Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. We'll wrap it up here with this normal Monday Frank Wilson press conference and get ready for Oklahoma. And I think that's where the normalcy probably ends. I don't know what what's going to transpire this week, but probably won't be boring. Thanksgiving on Thursday, and then Friday, a great day of college football in the SEC. 11 o'clock, Egg Bowl. I don't think I have to talk anymore about that. 2:30, Georgia and Georgia Tech play in Atlanta with playoff implications in that game. And then the night game is Texas and Texas A&M. So there's other games mixed in, but you can go SEC from about 11 to 11 on Friday to set the stage for next weekend.
You've pretty much convinced me to get a babysitter for Friday.
Yeah.
And I might not leave Rufino's after the show.
Okay. Well, no, we're going to watch at least the first game at Rufino's. And, I mean, like I say, it's 12 hours door to door. So do your shopping online on another day because Friday for us is football.
Unless you want to come get a gift card from Rufino's for the.
No, we're gonna get gift cards and everything. We should take a pool.
They open early on.
Yeah, opening up at 8 o'clock on Friday morning for gift cards. Buy a $100 gift card, get $50 gift card that you can use the first part of next year. Last thing, we'll get on the record. Does he coach the Egg Bowl?
Yes.
Yeah, you think he does?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
if I'm gonna put you on the spot, I guess yes, but I'm in no way confident about that prediction right now. Gonna be a long week.
I think if he coaches the Egg Bowl, it's not good.
For Richard Dickson and all of us here, for Michael, for Jordan, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good evening. LSU wins at 13.